Hello, and welcome back. This is Tonya for Pixi Designs video design team, and today I am sharing the new Slimline die set called Hello Autumn. This die set features 17 dies in the set. I did not cut apart my pumpkins or my leaves. I just thought it was easier to keep them all together since you can cut them all at once, and it just works out better for me. So here I am showing you what's in the set. I love the tree, and I think that tree could be used to create some fun spooky scenes as well. Plus all the pumpkins. You get a nice little fence, you get a little house die, and it creates this fun little scene. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to start off by spraying some Canson watercolor paper. I'm using Distress Mica stains today. They are Hocus Pocus, Wicked Elixir, Crooked Broomstick, and Tart Cranberry. And I have sprayed my watercolor paper with those. It kind of looks like a hot mess. I did blot up some of the excess, and I was a little too impatient, so I did heat set that. I'm going to use this paper, and I'm going to cut out a bunch of shimmery leaves with it. I think these turned out so good. I did actually go back and add in some, I did another sheet with more of the Tart Cranberry and the, I guess it was the Wicked Elixir, so I could get more green and red leaves. Here I have die cut the pumpkins from the die set, and I cut them in a couple different colors of cardstock. One of them is kind of a rustic orange color, and then the other one is just a traditional orange color. And I am ink blending on some Lisa Horton Interference ink. I'm using Golden Sun Shimmer and Pumpkin Spice Shimmer, which I thought was appropriate. If you haven't ever used interference inks, they change color depending on the cardstock that you're using. So it's essentially, you almost get like two colors for one. So if you're using a black cardstock or a dark cardstock, it'll look one color. If you're using a white cardstock or a lighter colored cardstock, it will look a different color. So I really like these, and it's nice for adding just a touch of shimmer. My ink blending on these pumpkins was very rough, and that is because I plan to add in some leaves that will kind of be falling around my scene. So I didn't need to do too much ink blending, just to add just a hint of shimmer. Give them a little bit of interest. And you can see how the different pumpkins with the ink blended on them look a little bit different. Like some of them have sort of a blue or an orange purpley or orange look to them. Some of them have a purpley look to them. So I really like those interference inks. Here I have taken the, it would be the grassy section of our Hello Autumn Slimline die. And I've kept it inside the negative, and I'm just ink blending on a little bit of, let's see, I used Mowed Lawn for the green. And then I'm going to come back in with a little bit of Vintage Photo and some walnut stain here in a bit. And I'm going to add in a little bit of brown because, you know, fall, the grass starts to look a little bit browner, maybe not as bright. So I thought just adding just a touch of brown around the edges would make it kind of interesting. Plus it gives it a little bit of texture to the grass. You could also use some alcohol markers and sketch in some blades of grass or tufts of grass here and there. That would be interesting. Or if you had, I believe Pixi Designs has a grass die that you could use also, and you could snip off, you know, sections of it and add little blades of grass that way too. That would be kind of fun. So here I am adding the walnut stain, Vintage Photo to this to just add a little bit more of a fall feel. I didn't want my grass to be too bright. Just going around in different areas and adding just a touch of brown to it. Then I will go back in. And now I'm going to place my grassy sections into my Slimline die. These dies have the impressions in them, so you know exactly where every part goes when you assemble it. Now I am using the Vintage Photo on the pathway. I've cut this pathway from some craft cardstock. I believe this is 80-pound craft cardstock. You could use white as well, but I figured since the scene was going to be more fall, I wanted to use a little bit more muted colors, not so bright. I'm also going to add walnut stain to this. That walnut stain? Nope, sorry. I started with brush corduroy and decided I didn't like it. So I'm going to go back to the walnut stain, add just a touch of walnut stain. And then I'm also going to do the same thing for my tree. I cut the tree from the same craft cardstock, 80 pound, and I'm using my detail ink blending brushes to add in just a little bit of detail to that tree. Give it a little bit more dimension, some shadows within the branches. Makes it a little bit more interesting than just a flat tree. I did look for an embossing folder. I had intended to add like a wood grain embossing to this, but unfortunately I don't seem to have an embossing folder with wood grain. I thought I did. I tried to use the die that's in the upper right hand corner there, but that didn't really work very well. The tree is pretty delicate, so I ended up just not embossing it at all. And I still love it. It turned out great. I think if you had a nice embossing folder, it would be nice to do that. I think adding the shading to the branches gives it so much more character, and this tree would be perfect for any kind of spooky Halloween scene that you wanted to create. So that is all done. I'm going to come back to my walking path here, and I'm going to add in just a little bit of alcohol ink with some Ola markers around the edges to make it look like maybe like a path that had pebbles or stones or something. Give it a little bit more character. So I'm going all around that, just adding in a little bit of dot detail. And then I'm going to move on to assembling my house. I did the base of the house from the same Canson XL watercolor paper. It's kind of an off-white color. And then I did a blue roof and some red trim. And then I did a blue door. And I've added the little, it cuts out the little windows on the house. And I'm just adding those back in. I added a little bit of yellow shading to those to make it look like the windows were kind of glowing either from the sun setting or from light on the inside. Here I have also cut my fence. This is some off-white cardstock. You can see in the upper left I tried it with the white cardstock and it was just too bright for my scene. So I will keep those for another card. I just added a little bit of distress ink around that to give it a little bit of a rustic look. I like the way those turned out. I also added a second layer to these to give them a little bit more dimension. So I just glued those extra pieces that I cut to the back of those. I like to add a lot of dimension in my cards. I think it kind of brings the card scene to life. I'm gonna let those sit and dry for a little bit, and I will move on to building the rest of my scene. For the tree, I did go ahead and add in some of the leaves already. I also ink blended I guess you could say sunset or sunrise background for this. I have added in my grassy areas, my walking path, and I have stamped just next to the tree Happy Fall. I'm adding in my little house with some dimensional foam, and then I'm going to add my fences. Sorry, I am a little out of frame here. I was zoomed in way too far, but I'm going to add my fences in close to the main entrance. I'm trying to get them lined up so that they're even. I toyed with possibly doing them unevenly, but I ended up liking them next to each other, kind of like an entrance gate or entrance fence, I guess you could say. I like that much better. So I will glue those down. And then I will set something heavy on those to let them dry. I'm going to place the second one. And then I will start adding in my pumpkins. For the pumpkins, I did glue on the stems for each one of them. The stems are, they die cut separately. I glued on some of the little stems in different colors, green and brown. I'm adding a little bit of liquid glue and just placing these around in the grassy area. And then I'm going to add in some more leaves. I added some pumpkins to the fronts of the gates. I have some leaves added here. I think the shimmery leaves just are so pretty. It really looks like a fall scene, and fall is absolutely my favorite time of year. So I had so much fun creating this and all the different colors. I mean, I think you could, I don't have very many colors of distress mica stain, otherwise I might have gone a little bit crazy making leaves, because I think you could make some really pretty colors with all the different colors of mica stain. Or even if you had like even like a paste or something that you could use that was shimmery, or you could even do embossing powders and just die cut out like an embossed cut cardstock to make different colored leaves. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. I just thought that the shimmery leaves was a nice touch. And I cut a lot of them, so I have a lot of extras to use for other projects. The scene is just so pretty. Like I said, I think you could use it for Halloween. You could make a spring scene with this. It doesn't have to be fall. So there's a lot of different things that you could do with this die set, which I love. I love that they're so versatile. I love that these die sets are so detailed. It cuts all of the line detail for everything. It just makes building a scene so much fun. And I glued on a lot of extra leaves. So I'm adding my leaves around the pumpkins, around the base of the pumpkins, just making them look like they're falling off the tree. So very pretty. This card turned out so fun. Quick look. You can see all that shimmer from that mica stain. I also added a little bit of liquid shimmer pin to the windows, just to give them a little extra shimmery shine. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut a card base, slimline card base for this. And I'm popping it up with a little bit of dimensional foam. Here is a final look at my card. I really love how this turned out. I love the shimmery leaves. I love all the detail. It is the perfect fall scene. Makes me happy that fall's here. Please be sure to check out the entire release over at pixidustdesigns.com and click the like and subscribe to be notified every time we post a new video. Thanks so much for stopping by. Have a great day.